your names are all here, and I'll just move along as I call. You should all have a piece of plain paper, because we're going to write something short, and you should all be able to share with somebody some of the book, okay? What about, do you read the book on the iPad, or where do you read the book? You read the book on Pages. What happened to the 21st century?
No, in the computer.
You have the book on the computer or on the iPad?
Computer.
On the computer, okay. Do you use iPads in class?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have the book on the iPad?
No.
Yes or no?
No.
I heard yes and I heard no. Who's the teacher in this group?
There's the
Who's the
different
teacher?
groups.
Do they have the book on the iPad?
My group don't have it yet, but Teacher Spencer's does.
Okay. Okay, just checking because I want to find out how advanced we are into technology. Okay, because next year, students, there's not going to be any teacher guides in paper. And probably in 2 more years, there's not going to be any more paper books from any company, not just with UNO. Book companies are doing away with paper, chopping down trees, making copies that cost lots of money, number one. And they're going to put everything online. It's going to be on websites, it's going to be on computers, it's going to be on iPads. And that's why we're trying gradually to get the students into that mode. Okay? So what we're going to look at today, we're going to do a little bit of work here on your story, Parvana's journey. And this is my name, Elaine Gallagher. And what is this, Jimena? What is this? Yeah, it's a flag. Do you know what country? Anybody can talk. What country?
Afghanistan.
Yes, thank you. It's Afghanistan's flag. And as you can see, we're going to start looking at chapters 1 to 4. Have you read all 4 chapters?
Yes.
Okay, good. Let me get a little review. This is the horror of war. This is what's been going on for more than 30 years in Afghanistan. We're going to look at a timeline in a minute. What do you see? What do you see happening here, Luis? What's happening? Pardon me? Where's Luis?
Here.
Okay, Luis, this is your name, Luis. Okay, what's happening here?
There are a military, no,
Maybe.
helping
They're helping her. What do you suppose happened? What do you suppose happened to the building here, Alfonso? What happened?
Is destroyed.
Yes, somebody bombed it. Now all of this stuff we see around here is called rubble. One of your vocabulary words. It's all rubble. It's a mess. It's junk. And this is how these poor people in Afghanistan have been living for 30 years. Let's look for a minute at a timeline. This is not in your book, but way back in 1976, the Soviets, which was the political group in Russia, USSR, Union of Soviet Socialist Republic, they had started moving in and trying to govern and take over Afghanistan. They wanted to bring Afghanistan into their group of countries. But the United States sent some military men over there to try to get rid of the Soviet influence. Then what happened is 2 years later, the Soviets invaded Afghanistan. They wanted to take it over. We're going to look at a map in a minute. After that, the Soviets from Russia were defeated. And for years, there was a civil war with different warlords, different people fighting to try to take power. In 1991, right after this and before this, what happened is Russia, USSR dissolved. All of the different units, Russia, Georgia, Latvia, Estonia, they all became independent countries, no more part of the Soviet Union. And we're going to look at the map in a minute. In 1986, the Taliban, which is the name of a militia group, a military group in Afghanistan, they took over, and they're extremely conservative. They burned the schools. No girls should go to schools. If any women were telling girls you could vote, you have the right to do things, they would kill them. And people were afraid of the Taliban. What happened is, in 2001, Al-Qaeda, which is another military group, a terrorist group in Afghanistan at the time, they bombed, they actually crashed planes into the World Trade Center in New York City and the Pentagon in Washington. And the United States sent troops over with their allies, with their friends, and in 5 weeks they conquered the Taliban, got rid of them, brought in a new government, brought in women able to vote, but it didn't last very long because now The Taliban returned, and they're still trying to gain power. So the poor people that live in Afghanistan since 1978 up till now, 2014, they're still in war. So that's the background of this story. So when we look at what are we going to do today, today's work, the focus is the setting. What's the capital of Afghanistan, Alfonso? You know, it starts with a K. Alfonso, you know? If you don't know, that's okay. Kabul, very good. Okay, that's correct. And so we're going to look at the setting, and the value we're talking about is tolerance. To be able to tolerate people of different religions, of different beliefs. Tolerate them, not kill them, not bomb them. We're going to be looking at the big question out of this whole book. And the big question is this: what happens to human lives? What happens to society when there's war that's been lasting for 30 years? What do you think is one of the things that could happen, Miguel? What could happen?
They will get all destroyed, all the trees and
Exactly.
water for water.
Very good. The trees, the water, everything is contaminated. They even burn down the trees and bushes so they can have more area to fight in. And this can happen after many wars. We're going to look at vocabulary, 12 words, taken out of the glossary that belong to the story. We're going to have a very small, short activity of think, pair, and share. And I'm going to have you be thinking about the worst or the scariest thing that ever happened to you. Okay? The next thing we're going to be looking at is character development. We're going to look at Parvana's characteristics. What is she like as a person? Cause and effect, we're going to look at graphic organizers. And at the closure, we're going to talk at the end, what did we do in class today? And then I have 2 facts of the week, 2 ideas for your brain. Number 1 is, I want you to be able to identify 3 landlocked countries. Does anybody know, for example, Valentine? Valentine, where are you hiding? Okay, Valentine. Do you know what it means, landlocked country? What do you think? It was mentioned in the story. Landlocked. What does it sound like it could be?
Like island is war or something.
All right, could be an island, but we're going to look. I'm not going to say yes or no yet. We're going to look at it. And the second thing we're going to look at today is the suffix stan, S-T-A-N, like Afghanistan, Pakistan, Kyrgyzstan. There's lots of countries that end with the suffix stan. Does anybody know what that means? Good, you're going to learn today, okay? All right, those are the things we're going to do today in our 1 hour. And if you look at Afghanistan with a world view, Afghanistan is over here in Asia. Asia is the largest continent. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this continent and I'm going to put it on another slide so you can see where Afghanistan is. All right, this is from an Asian view. This is that continent of Asia. Here is Afghanistan. All right, you have a picture in your book, but this is a colored one. I think colored ones are easier to see. And you can see here Pakistan, Afghanistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan. What do you think "stan" means? Anybody have an idea? What would be a logical thing? What do you think? Yes?
But they're in the same government.
Pardon me?
When they're in the same government, all countries.
Okay, could be something in the same country. All right. Can you think of a word that could take the place of "stan"? Like Paki, Afghana, something that "stan" could mean? That's okay. Can anybody think of it? What do you think?
Like a synonym of land?
All right, like a system of land. Okay, that's good. We're going to look at it in a few minutes. I'm going to show you something else too when we talk about landlocked. Mongolia is landlocked. Afghanistan is landlocked. What does it mean?
That has no coast?
No coast. Excellent. Very good. Landlocked countries are usually poorer than countries that have access to the ocean. Because if people from Mongolia want to go anywhere, they have to pass through Russia up here or China down here. If people from Afghanistan want to go somewhere, they have to go through Iran or through Pakistan or over here through Pakistan into China. So landlocked countries worldwide usually are poorer countries because they have no way to ship things out of their country or to bring things in. They have to pass through other countries, and that's one of the reasons why